TJ, what was it? How tough was it being cut by the Browns, and then going through the free agency process?
I think that was definitely. I think it's a tough process for anyone. I think that anytime you hear your services are no longer needed, it's definitely a drawback in the sense of the belief in your own talent and the confidence that you have. But there's always an opportunity for new journeys and new things to come. And blessed and thankful that Indy gave me a chance to definitely have another opportunity. And so from that, it gave me a perspective on to look at some of the things that I did wrong. I didn't do as well while I was at the Browns and really try to improve some of those aspects of my game. So wherever the next opportunity that I got, I would be able to be a different player, which is what you see this year.
What were some of those things that you identified?
I think a lot of it is me being able to be more instinctive in a lot of the things that I was able to do. I wasn't as instinctive, and from my standpoint, it being in Cleveland, being able to go out there and be a playmaker. I think that anytime that you are looked at to be a playmaker, you have to make plays consistently every game. And that was something that I didn't do as well or didn't do consistently on a game by game basis. And so those are things that I definitely look forward to improve on. And, I try to make sure that my presence is felt every game that I step on that field, no matter in what antics or role it is, so that's things that I really worked on this offseason.
Mike Chappell.
TJ, you're an accomplished corner and nickel. You started dozens of games. How do you buy into playing special teams? I mean, everybody wants to be the guy, but how do you buy into being special teams?
I think it's really just understanding that, there's so many antics and ways that you can be a difference maker in the game, right? And special teams it's not all the glitz and glamour that everyone thinks that they see, or from a fan perspective, but it really is. Special teams is its own game changer in a lot of different aspects. There's a lot of different ways that you can make huge differences in the game, as you've seen the last game. And then there's a lot of instances where you can make big plays, as far as you can still get turnovers on special teams. You can still get interceptions on special teams, right? As far as you see a lot of fake punts nowadays where, those are things that's counted, so there's a lot of different things as far as forced fumbles and touchdowns that you can make on that same phase that is just as impactful than the other team's phases as well. So that's something that I just prided myself on always being able to be coachable and willing to understand the role that I'm in, and making sure that when I take that role, that I do it to the best of my abilities. This is still a team game, and those things are needed in order for you to go the distance in this league.
I don't know, before you know it, you score a touchdown on a block punt.
You do, man. And those are, like I said, those are game changers, man. I think that was one of the biggest things that changed the game, and that we were in, which, kind of gave us a one up on what they were trying to do and how effective it was.
Zach Kiefer.
TJ, Matt Eberflus is on record saying that his defense is not for everybody, right? That some guys might not love the effort and that it requires. I'm curious, you played a lot of ball in this league. What have you learned about this defense and the style to which Matt coaches you guys?
I think the biggest thing is effort. Like he said, that's probably one of the biggest things that some people may not as realize how important it is in the game. But, effort in itself, for example, most of the time when there's a runaway, the backside corner kind of just jogs and, well, I can't make a difference. I can't make the play. But in this defensive scheme, you need to run. He forces you to run, and there are things done if you don't run, right? So, you not running affects the whole team in that aspect. And so I think from that standpoint, it's probably one of the best teams that I've seen run to the ball and sense of urgency, which is displayed on the field week in and week out. And I think that's really the biggest difference, because you definitely need to be in a different type of shape in order to continue to perform at the level that he wants you to perform at, and with those high expectations.
Was that a shock to the system a little bit? Was it very different from the other systems you've been to?
I wouldn't say it was it's as much as different as just the expectations that coaches place on the type of schemes that they have, right? Some schemes stressing the backside corner to run as far as what Coach Flus wants, it's not as an importance to it, right? They definitely want you to run, but for him to say, hey, you need to run 15 yards, and another team to say, hey, I want you to run 10 yards, they still are all preaching effort, but it's just a different level of effort that they consist and see it as. So, there's some teams out there that do things differently, but I think the way he does it, man, it stresses everyone out in a sense of the eye in the sky doesn't lie. So even if you think you're running enough, he's still going to get on you.
We'll go 3 more here. Stephen Holder.
TJ, I wanted to kind of continue what you were talking about on special teams earlier. You're in the locker room, I'm not, but it does feel like on this team, like there's a cultural kind of embrace of, understanding the role of special teams, and as opposed to something you got to do, right? I don't think you've ever played this much special teams in your career, if I'm not mistaken, right? And did you notice that? Is there a difference in the way it's viewed in this organization, or is it pretty run of the mill?
No, it is different, man. The expectation here on just you being a guy to play the role that you're played in, I've seen there's, definitely a more stress in the sense of, you're a guy that we feel plays this position as best as possible, and we're going to challenge you, no matter if you're on offense or defense. So that is a different perspective. And this is the most special teams I've played, and so it definitely, made me think, how can I be impactful on this phase, and for a coach to put trust in you to say, hey, we know you play defense, we know you play corner and nickel, but we need you on special teams. I take pride in a coach believing and trusting in me to be able to do those things and get them done, right? So I think, more or less, you see a lot of that here where, we have guys that play 2-3 phases that definitely play on defense or play on offense, and I think that just shows you the amount of respect that the coaches have for its players and the talent that they believe in, where they feel like that guy can get it done, and they trust them. And I think this business is always, a lot of it within the coach player personnel, it's built off trust, man. The coaches put people that they trust, players that they trust in these positions. And they try to continue to put as many guys in that position as they can. And they give you an opportunity to go out there and make plays.
Jim Aiello.
Hey TJ, we asked you about Eberflus, but I was wondering about your position coach, Jonathan Gannon, and what he is kind of, he's smiling now. I mean, what's he done to kind of boost your game, and why are you smiling?
Because JG is a high energy guy, man. He comes in. I've never seen JG have a bad day. And I smile because that's all we see from him, right? In everything that we do, you make a play, you don't make a play, right? And his attitude never changed. He's always high motor, he's always high energy, and he's always positive, right? And I think that, in the business that we be in, it can be easy to kind of fall in the slope of negativity, but you don't see that from this staff. Everything is about positivity and how can we move on. Just like I said, make a play or don't make a play, right? And so I think that in an aspect has definitely changed a lot of the mind frames that we've all came from, because it's not like that around other ball clubs, right? And so for you to be able to come here and to know that, your coach is always going to be positive. He's going to find something positive in every situation on, hey, you gave up this play, but how can we learn from it? What did you see that I didn't see because I seen you playing it this way, right? So he challenges you in a positive way that definitely continues to give you confidence in your ability and to continue to want to play for coaches like we have in this building.
The last one here, Kevin Bowen.
Hey, TJ, I got on here late, so sorry if you were asked this, but back when you signed here in March, how much of the conversation with Chris Ballard was about when Kenny Moore got injured late last season and this team struggled a little bit out of the slot, and now with Kenny banged up, how much do you feel like your presence helps maybe stabilize something this team didn't have last year?
We didn't really talk about it in that sense. We more or less talked about just the veteran leadership that, bringing in some older guys can give to this team, because in a sense, a lot of the players that play key positions in this team, they're younger guys, right? And so with us being able to come in, just some veterans being able to come in, you know, my whole goal is to be able to shed as much light as I can to Kenny, to Rock, you know, to Carrie, to a lot of the players that play so vital positions in this game, and we bounce ideas back and forth, you know. And I said early on when I came in and was asked about the nickel competition, I told everyone that, you know, my whole goal and objective is to help these guys be as talented as possible, and that we learn from each other. And there's a lot of things that I've learned from Kenny and Rock and Carrie and a lot of other guys that are on that defense and offense as well, that they learn from me. So it's always great to be able to bounce ideas off of each other and to sharpen each other's iron, in a sense of, you know, we're all trying to search for that ultimate goal, right? And that's to be the best at this game as possible, and to be the best team in this league as possible. But that only happens with you know, the common likeness of us being able to search and challenge each other to be great in our own spaces.